So, our family has this big barbecue cookout once every 2 months. People take turn on whose house it is going to be next. This time it is in our house. These events are really big in our family, almost like a festival, so everyone closer to us will come. Recently, my daughter, who is 13 years old, seemed really upset and tried to make it postpone or just to avoid it. Which is odd because she loves these family cookouts. She wouldn't tell me the reason until she finally did. She said she is not comfortable with her Uncle Frank, my brother. I asked her why she thinks like that. She says he gives her weird vibes. Some things he does that really makes her uncomfortable, hugging her tight, holding her waist gently, always gives some excuses to be near her. She claims she caught him looking at her chest. He also makes comments like, "You are going to be a heartbreaker, you are turning into a really beautiful woman, you are mature for your age." Last cookout he asked her if she has kissed anyone. When she was shy he told her, "Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. It will be our secret." I asked her would she be comfortable if we do not invite him? She agreed to that. I did just that. I only invited my mom, my dad, my younger brother and my sister. Frank knew that I didn't invite him. I just said what my daughter told me. Frank took it as an offense and said my daughter is lying. In fact, she was the one who always comes onto him. I told him, I cannot have him around her. I am sorry, but I have to respect my daughter's boundaries. The whole family is divided. But most of them took Frank's side. They think my daughter is just lying for attention. I can tell she is not lying because I heard her crying because she thinks her family hates her. I told her that is not the case and not to blame herself. My brother said since Frank hasn't done anything, it would be unfair to uninvite him because what he said was just words. Not like he meant it. And just tell my daughter to stay away from him if he makes her uncomfortable. The only person is on my side is my wife. She is sure Frank is showcasing predator behavior towards our daughter. She was groomed when she was a teenager and says this is exactly how it starts. I don't know. I do want my daughter to feel safe. Frank has never shown any type of predator behavior. In fact, I heard him say a lot of times that pedophiles should be sentenced to death. He is overprotective of his own daughter. But on the other hand, I cannot ignore my daughter's feelings. Did I do something wrong here? Update 1. There was a big fight. I can't tell all the details, but I can say one thing is clear, that my brother Frankie will not be near my daughter. My daughter is very upset because of the fight. Some people are still calling her a liar and an attention seeker, but I can see how it is affecting her mental health. So, I have decided to cancel the cookout. Instead me, my wife, my son and my daughter, will go to a Korean barbecue instead. Hope this can cheer her up. I will give a full update about the whole thing later on. Take care. Update 2. Okay, it has been a hectic few days for us. Yes, I did take my daughter out for a Korean barbecue. She enjoyed it, might have got a little sick because she thinks she can handle spice. But happy nonetheless. Well, the talk with my family didn't go so well. They were all defending my brother. They all think either my daughter was lying or trying to frame Frank because she was at that age of being a rebellious teenager. I don't see the point of where she had to lie. She had no bad blood with my brother. She would always say Frank was her favorite uncle. She has no reason to lie. I didn't listen to them. I canceled the cookout and told them anyone who will call my daughter a liar or a bad name will never be invited to our lives. I said this especially to my parents. They believed me but still tried to defend my brother. Lastly, I talked to Frank in public. He denied everything. He was insistent on my daughter being a liar and that she admitted to having a crush on him. I do not believe that. I told him to not come to our house. If he wants to meet or talk to me, we will go in a public place, but he is never to be seen around my daughter. My younger brother has been quiet because his fiancée berated him for taking Frank's side. You see, she works with an NGO that helps women who are suffering abuse and assault. She came to our house and had a little chat and explained things to my daughter that this is not her fault. I am glad my brother picked right. My daughter has been sad. She loved the cookouts and BBQs, and now we might never attend because Frank might be there. She cries and thinks this is her fault. She even said she will say sorry to Frank and take back what she said, just be done with it, because she doesn't want people to think she is a bad person. It honestly made me sad that she thinks like that. It is not her fault. She shouldn't apologize for something like that. She is still very much disappointed. We will arrange a therapy for her. I don't want to lose my cheerful daughter over this. Frank's girlfriend did call me to curse us out, by the way, and she is blocked. That's it. I am going to focus on my family from now on. I don't need people who blame my daughter instead of the culprit in my life. You are a great parent. Your family suck, however. I'm glad you are taking your daughter to therapy and working on her self-esteem. Frank sadly will trip up in the future, but it won't be with your daughter, and that's all you can control. Once he is caught and outed, remain no contact with his defenders even if they try to apologize. They really suck. Your brother is lying. It is so hard for a kid to report abuse. Have you ever heard an abuser or rapist admit it? Yeah, me either. They say 1 out of 3 women are abused. I went and told when I was 14. No one believed me either. Until other people told. I am what therapists call the truth teller in the family. Support your child. Also, therapy is necessary for recovery and validation. Make sure you tell her you're sorry this happened and you will protect her from him. Why would a child lie? Also, on the rare occasion they do, there is a history of behavior that is indicative of lying. Good for you for supporting your child. She will remember that you did. A user replies, they never admit it. My 14-year-old daughter was the victim of SA. She got out and immediately and called the police and her dad and I. She woke the whole house up. Best friend's 22-year-old loser adult brother we didn't know had moved home, and his parents and siblings caught him trying to cover evidence. She went to the hospital, did swabs, got DNA and everything, and his approach is still it didn't happen. She's a liar. There's 2 more victims of his who've now come forward since, and he's still crying he's the victim of a conspiracy. Thankfully from behind bars while awaiting criminal trial. Update 3. These few months have been very hectic and depressing for us and our whole family. First of all, my daughter is not doing very well. I took her to a therapist and she finally opened up about everything. I am ashamed to say I failed as a father. First of all, I just want to make it clear that my pedophile brother Frank did not have any intercourse with my daughter, but what he did was no less disgusting. My daughter said that his uncle and her became very close. She would often share things with him. Even the fact that she had a crush on him. To which he told her if she wasn't his niece he would definitely ask. I do understand where my daughter is coming from. She is a child. She doesn't know any better, but shouldn't my brother be her guide? They exchanged messages and in one message he asked her to show him her new bra. There were many messages and it was clear he was testing my daughter's boundaries. The straw that broke camel's back was the few before I made my first post. She went to visit him and he somehow lured her into the bathroom and asked her to touch his thing. She ran from there and has been in panic mode ever since. Needless to say, my daughter is a mess because she thinks this is all her fault because she confessed that she had a crush on him and he took it too far. My wife and I always reassured her she did nothing wrong. My own brother is a pedophile. I couldn't control myself and I lost all control and went to his house. We got into a fight, the police was called. I spent the night in jail. I filed charges against him and police is still doing investigation. They did find CP in my brother's old computer but he denies ever having it. He still claims his account got hacked and that my daughter is lying because she admitted that she had a crush on him and he turned her down. That's why she is making it all up. I swear to God, I would have killed him that night if his girlfriend didn't intervene. And as for my parents, that was a disappointing because they are taking my brother's side. They claim that bringing police into this will only bring shame and he will lose his daughter? Like what the fuck? I tried reasoning with them but it is no use. I blocked them and just focusing on my daughter. One more thing, I did inform Frank's ex, his daughter's mother. She has taken her in and will be fighting for full custody. My younger brother is the only one actively supporting us through all of this. I don't think I need those people in my life who would rather support a child predator. I am not okay. I also joined therapy because this has been too much for me. I can't imagine what my daughter is going through. I mean, Frank literally played with her when she was a kid, he was there in the hospital when she was born. How could he do this to his own niece? Lastly, I am thinking about moving from her. Story 2. Sister's best friend humiliates me with a hurtful joke at my sister's wedding. I leave the reception early, and now my sister is angry at me. I 27F was a bridesmaid at my older sister's wedding last week. The wedding was beautiful and everything seemed perfect until the reception. During the reception, the maid of honor, who has been my sister's best friend since childhood, gave her speech. It was emotional and all, but then she made a joke about how I was the family screw-up who finally managed to do something right by not messing up my bridesmaid duties. Everyone laughed, but I didn't find it funny. For context, I've had a rough few years. I struggled with my mental health and dropped out of college for a while. I've since gotten my life back on track, but it's still a sensitive topic for me. Hearing that joke in front of all our family and friends wasn't funny at all. My sister's best friend and I never really got along, but still I never expected something like this from her. Especially the day wasn't about me at all, then why bring me up in the speech? I tried to stay composed but I felt the tears coming, so I quietly left the reception and went outside to collect myself. My sister followed me out and asked what was wrong. When I told her, she said it was just a joke and she meant nothing bad. I tried to go back inside but I just couldn't and I ended up leaving the wedding early. My parents understand why I was upset, but my sister is angry with me. I do feel terrible for leaving, but I also feel like I had the right to feel hurt and humiliated. Edit. I said nothing at the moment because I didn't want to cause a scene on my sister's special day. And I can't reason with her right now because she will just ask me if I haven't been taking my meds lately, because that's what she does when she's angry with me, so I'm giving her some time to maybe realize how her best friend's joke was out of line. Edit 2. Someone asked me if my sister's best friend and I argued biff, or / did I give her a reason to do this? My sister's best friend and I never went past hi. She told me before, few years ago, that she in general doesn't feel comfortable around someone struggling mentally because in her head God only knows what they're capable of. Since she said this / to this day I just try to avoid her. Update 1. The same day I posted, my dad called to check up on me and see if my sister and I had talked things out. When I told him no, he said it's better if we talk about it now and assured me that I have nothing to apologize for. If my sister thinks she has nothing to apologize for, then the least she can do is make her best friend apologize or fully realize that the joke was out of line. By the way, my brother and I met 4 days ago and he told me that Bill, my sister's husband, didn't like the way the Mo called me a screw up in front of everyone, and some of those who laughed voiced later that they did so out of nervousness. On Monday my sister called me to talk. When I made it to her place, her best friend was on the phone and didn't put it down for a second. My sister started by saying that just a few years ago I would have laughed hard and not taken the joke as an insult. I told her maybe some laughed because they don't know the reason she called me a screw up. During our conversation my sister did most of the talking. At some point I felt like my sister had called me just to blame me again without trying to understand my perspective. When I tried to talk, she put her hand on the back of my neck and pulled me toward her with each sentence as if to say, "Do you understand? Or okay?" I hated it and felt irritated. I honestly kept thinking, if I pushes her away, would I be in the wrong? Would they just call me mental and tell family I got physical? I tried to leave, but she insisted that no one was leaving until we sort this out. She told her best friend to just apologize. She refused and reminded my sister that I was the reason her husband got angry at her on their wedding day because I couldn't take a joke, and when I tried to explain why, I told her if she had focused her speech on the bride/groom then maybe he wouldn't have had a reason to be angry. She refused to listen and brushed my words off. She said, "Yeah, whatever." Sorry. I was glad it was finally over, and as I was about to leave I heard her say, "Can't take a joke that everyone knows is true." Both of them laughed, but my sister stopped mid-laugh and apologized. I didn't say anything and left. I think I've had enough. I mean, I know I've had a few rough years. I dropped out of college for a while, fine. But I've since gotten my life back on track. My parents helped me through it all and never made me feel like a burden. At first, I was on some strong meds that made me feel tired/sleepy most of the time. After a while I started to feel a little better with therapy and my family's support. During that period it was me, my parents and my brother. My sister was 3 hours away for a job and used to visit sometimes and would often bring her best friend along with her. Looking back, I don't want to say she hates me, but I know she felt ashamed to have a family member struggling with mental health issues. I don't know how to explain this. I've made up my mind and decided to go NC for now. If my parents and my brother, who were there when I was going through it all, never made me feel that they're ashamed of me, then why would she? I'm still on some meds but feels much better than before. I have a stable job, my own place and friends who loves me for who I am. I can say I'm proud of myself a little. I love my family to death and tried to maintain a relationship with my sister all these years, but I'm trying to improve myself, not constantly be reminded of what I was a few years ago. Update 2. I went to see my parents with my brother. My dad texted me before to let me know that my sister was coming too. I didn't want to cause any problems between her and my parents by telling them about what she and her best friend did. But when she started the conversation with lies, I told them everything and made it clear that I'm not asking them to take sides and that I will still come to family gatherings, but I won't engage with her in any way. My dad couldn't let the fact that she grabbed me by the back of my neck slide. But my mother tried to make it seem like it was out of desperation, to make me accept her apology. What my sister said next did it for my mom. She asked them, how is anyone still supposed to remember what exactly triggers me after all these years, and that I already gotten over it since I didn't react. And what if I've been faking it all these years? I know I shouldn't have said this and I really regret it now, but I told her I wish she'd go through exactly what I went through. Maybe then she could give me a better example of how I should have handled it all. She told me to get over it and stop begging magazines to post about what happened at the wedding and left. My dad told me later that her best friend's younger sister read about it in People magazine. It was posted on their Instagram. And, get over it? She's the only one who still brings up what happened. My mother now understands why I decided to go no contact. My dad and brother are 100% supportive of my decision. But I can't stop thinking about what she said. She tried to trigger a reaction out of me and now thinks I've been faking it because I didn't give her one. It's been 11 years. Years of therapy and meds. Of course I've gotten better. Not 100% though, since I felt irritated. And if it wasn't for already being labeled crazy I would have shoved her away. I feel like I should have cut contact with her the moment she asked my parents why I didn't stay at the party and wait for my brother to come and pick me up. The reason I left the party was because some of the guys who were invited were much older than I was and they were getting drunk and loud. 2 of them followed me. First thing my sister told my parents was, and still believe, that I left with them because I was naive and just scared/ashamed to admit it. Even after both of them confessed everything. But I was young, I guess, and cutting contact with her wasn't something I could do. I also want to mention how supportive my partner has been through all of this. From the day I told him everything. He has been incredibly understanding. Even though I never asked him to and he never told me, but I know he still goes through each movie/series before we watch it together to make sure there aren't any scenes that could make me uncomfortable. When I put something on, he finds a way to distract me for a few minutes to check it before we watch. He has never made me feel like a screw-up. He makes me feel like I still deserve to be loved. Thank you to each of you for your kind comments and reaching out in private. Edit. There's something else that happened in the last few days, but I can't mention it. Since they found out I posted on the internet from People magazine's Instagram. I assume they searched for the original post here on Reddit. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong though.